The COVID-19 pandemic has in many ways behaved differently from what we would expect based on traditional SIR type models. At the same time, we've observed that most of the pandemic's early hotspots were densely populated areas such as Wuhan or New York City. Finally, studies have shown that COVID-19 is a highly inhomogeneously spreading disease, meaning that a few superspreaders are behind most of the infections. With our study, we want to link these observations. We do this by proposing an agent-based or individual-based model taking population density into account. In our model, we assume that everyone is equally social, that is, they spend the same amount of time around other people, whether they live in the city or in the countryside. The difference between the two is simply that in the countryside, people will usually have multiple encounters with the same small pool of neighbors because community sizes are smaller. This matters when discussing an inhomogeneously spreading disease, because imagine if you're a super spreader and you have the capacity to infect 50 others, then finding these 50 other people is going to be a lot easier if you live in a large city than in a small rural community. We therefore expect that an inhomogeneously spreading disease should have a much harder time spreading in a sparsely populated area than a homogeneously spreading disease. And that's indeed what we see, both based on observations from the early days of the pandemic when COVID-19 incidences were much higher in densely populated areas, and also from studies of influenza, a homogeneously spreading disease, which does not show the same dependence of incidence on population density.